Hello, 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 and welcome to Floating Poly. We're doing some more rigging today. My name is Dr. Heatsink, and this is a project I've been working on for a while now. The character's name is Sakuya Izuyoi. She's a character from Toho Project. So, without much further ado, we're just going to dive straight in. But given the repetitive nature of some of this, we're gonna do this while talking about some, just general topics that might be relatively interesting. As this is an open stream, like with chat on display, you are free to, of course, respond. As of yesterday or last night, actually, I was having a think as to what kind of game I was going to play on Sunday for the Sunday stream, and one game that popped up that a VTuber Watami was playing was I would try and get the name because I'm not going to be able to say it yet. It was Yomawari, or and the subtitle being Night Alone. So sorry, Yomawari Night Alone. It just reminds me a lot of these kind of Japanese indie horror games that I so adore. You know, games like The Witch's House and Ib, Mad Father. It had that kind of vibe. So I've bought it, and I think that's what I'm going to be playing on Sunday for the stream. Well, tomorrow even. So yeah, that's going to be... I think it's going to be really interesting. It looks really, really good. Okay. We're just going to continue on working from the head upwards, and then I think we'll do the skirt after, because that one's still a bit of a grey area, but we've taken a few, like video tutorials on facial rigging and stuff. Oh. And this outliner a bit. Right that far. I've also kind of been thinking of revisiting Resident Evil 4 again, as yeah, well, there we go. Coco is playing it right now, and I believe it is her first time playing it. I mean, I ended up revisiting it recently anyway, and I did the main story mode, but I might continue on with it by like streaming separate ways or something. That, like, I don't really I've never really focused that much on the normal campaign, and that, whoops, and I focus too much on the normal campaign, whereas I tend to forget the side campaigns like Assignment Ada and Separate Ways in favor for you know, spamming the mercenary mode. And maybe it's worth playing a little bit of the mercenary mode online, but generally speaking, I should probably really look into Assignment Ada and Separate Ways more. They do expand a lot more on the initial story that went on. Need a side view. Or if it was the other side though. It's been left. Yes. Makes it a little easier. Can't see much of it. Your location. It rotates roughly around there. Very roughly though. It's not exactly a precise figure. pull my keyboard forward a bit, since I don't need the tablet for this yet, although when we do weight painting I do like to use the tablet, just because the movement is a lot more natural. I don't really do the whole precise weight painting by taking every vertex and trying to weight them that way. It's just too, I just prefer something a little bit more interactive. So this will rotate the jaw, and then we're gonna, oops, not Control W, that's Unreal. Duplicate the teeth over, or rather duplicate the bone over so that it will control teeth. Might make some more sense. Although it won't control that one from there. No. Maybe. Because I think that it's worth having some individual control, be able to adjust the teeth. But the main bone that's going to rotate it is going to be this one. And then this could translocate to wherever, like if we needed to. But right now, just there. Yeah, there we go. Ew. One thing that's been pretty apparent with being this busy is that I haven't had any real time to catch up on like anime and stuff, because there's just so much going on with things like real life work, and then trying to fit VTuber streams in who are incredibly interesting now. And because of that, you know, I don't really get to explore that much in terms of games and anime as much as I would normally do, perhaps, which is a good thing, I guess, but it does kind of leave the heart wandering a little bit. Putting another joint there just for even more control, and like, because there might be a situation where I want to hide the upper teeth for whatever reason in like a particular shot, so it wouldn't be that difficult to move them. It's all about choice. Alright. I want to snap that to the vertex there and then zero it out that way. There we go. So that way it's aligned to that vertex, but it's still zeroed, so that's fine. One thing that's been really cool, actually, and I think I'll post about it later in the week, is that because I'm streaming this particular process, there's some other projects I'm able to kind of revive from the dead in the spare time that I'm not streaming or working. And what that really means is that I can, you know, basically bring them back a bit and work on them, improve them, and basically just sort of get an actual project out of that. This bit is kind of interesting. This bit is very interesting. So what I'm about to do here is, I mean, it's simple by most people's standards, but what I'm about to do is that I want to get this joint to be at this mesh's pivot point. Since this mesh is already configured as basically the eye, and it's already got its pivot point so that it will work, I want to probably put its material on it actually while I'm there. Yeah. Or is it already on there? Oh, it's already on there. Alright, didn't have to worry about that. But yeah, what I want to do is that I want to get the joint to be aligned to that pivot point, and I believe it is snap to points, maybe, or is it projected center? We have other ways. So I'm going to take that and select this after, I think. And I want to go match transformations, match translation. Hey, there we go. Nice and easy. So just snap that onto the center point there, and then when this is bound, it's going to share the bones rotation. Okay, an easy one. Don't need that parented to the jaw though. This is our eyeball. There you go. Alright. Get that back. Alright. And one of the easiest ways to animate an eyeball, assuming that it's a normal sized eyeball, well not eyeball, sorry, eyelid, would be to put the joint or the eyelid in the exact same position. However, we might need to do some experimenting here, as it may not necessarily work the way that we intend to, but as a rule of thumb, we would just put it in the exact same location. So I'm going to increase, oh sorry, this one should be decreased to about 0.75, as it's the eyeball bone. It's not for the user to use, it's so that I'm able to just select them a little easier. I'm not using the outliner, which I'll probably scale back now. Let's duplicate that. I want to say this is the eyelid. And then when I rotate this bone, it should move the eyelid according to that origin, and it should therefore curve around the shape of this eyeball, which, if I remember correctly, is a perfect sphere. But it may require some correction because it's not a normal eye. Whereas if it was a more normal eye, this would definitely 100% work. So yeah, it takes a bit of working out. All right, we've got that. I'm gonna raise this up to about 1.2. Smaller inner one is the eyeball, the larger outer one is this eyelid upper, actually. Should think about that. And I'm going to duplicate that again. It's going to become the lower lid. Nice and easy. And then I'm going to make this about 1.0. There we go. So we go eyeball, lower, upper. That makes sense? I hope so. Alright then. So there's also a whole bunch of facial bones that we're going to need to put in. And from what I understand, at this point in time, there are a number of bones here, a number of bones on the mouth, and obviously 1, 2, 3 bones on the eyebrows. Since I know this one for definite and a little bit of this one, we can start with that and then wonder what kind of movements we'll do with the cheek. But I don't think it will be that many given, anime. Right? Because they don't typically, in anime, you don't really move the chin that much. It's more so as a base, unless of course it's something with a little bit more of a defined art style, like it's more realistic. Anyway. This one, and throw that onto the eyebrow there. Yep. That, throw it over here. Should probably have named it first. An inner R. There we go. And the last one that controls the edge, like this. Probably have just gave up and, you know, made it in the orthographic view, couldn't I? There we go. 1. Yeah. Sometimes you try and do it in the perspective view, and then, you know, you're trying to be clever and save time, and it turns out that you're not that clever. There you go. All right. It always feels a little bit weird when you've got joints like this just joining straight onto some random bone. In this case, it's the head, but you have to resist that. It is actually pretty normal. All right, and so outer. Okay, and I think there would you just have a bunch of bones, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 here that control the shape of the eyelid as you're closing it, since it's not going to be a perfect like this whole shape is not going to be a mirror, or it's not going to mirror down like that. You're gonna then have to do like corrective motions and stuff, which isn't exactly difficult or anything. So, I mean, learning about this this rigging stuff has been very, very fun, actually. Although it probably helps that I've had, you know, projects where I've had to learn the hard way a little bit. But I don't think it's as scary as some people make it out to be. Very, very much an exercise in time. You need to have the time. Fortunately, I think I've got enough time before this is, so that's not that much of a problem. All right, so keep it consistent. Upper lid, and then say maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. I think, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 joints should probably be enough. So we're talking like inner, mid outer, outer. I think that makes sense. So yeah. And just make sure that it's definitely been behind the eyelash there, since the eyelash is going to be basically our shield, essentially. The eyelash is what's going to hide all of the issues that pertain to the to it underneath. So long as the eyelash is covering all of the gaps, then there won't need to be that much work done on the inner eyelid here. And again, I want to decrease the size of this to something much more manageable. Number 2, about here. So inner mid. Like you know, Hololive is making really, really big movements. Actually, they've announced the whole like an English application for Hololivers. That's very interesting considering how successful Coco is. Yeah. Wondering if they can actually get lightning to strike twice. Now, Coco obviously isn't, you know, fully English, right? She has Japanese streams, but if I imagine they're thinking that if they can get someone, you know, that influential on the English side, they're gonna be really successful. Okay, the last bit, last one here. as well, move it along. That should be good enough if it just got a little closer to the end. Now you really have to look at it at every angle. Game of patience. No. Gonna be so many bones to you know, to weight paint for. Right, so outer go. And of course the same is going to be true of the inner, sorry, not the inner, the lower eyelid. So most of that makes sense to me. Two is just move right down after we've copied them. Just position them that they're roughly behind and touching the eyelid. Okay, and then continue with these two. So that when, for instance, like if she's smiling, then the lower lid will be raised, and obviously the cheek will be raised as well, but I'm not sure that having the cheek raised is going to be enough control, and maybe we need more control in the form of 4 joints here. Maybe. I can't remember what the maximum joint count for a skeletal mesh in Unreal is. But I don't think it applies anymore. It used, like, back in the UDK day, it was about 150 or 75, something. It was one of those two. I would hope that it's not got such a limit nowadays. Alright. So. Let's make sure that it's got the lower suffix in there. Lower. What else can we talk about? What else? What is like on my mind? What is on anyone's mind? I see a lot of like Japanese artists on Twitter, and I find that really interesting to look at their work. Very different to what you see on ArtStation. Like whether it's 2D or 3D or whichever, the restrictions seem to be a lot looser on Twitter actually. So you do see quite, you know, extreme. Well, not really extreme. You know, like. Just very, very, well, yeah, you might as well just say it, just put, you know, like, erotic artwork, that, like, even with, like, sculpts and stuff. It's fascinating. You know, just the level of anatomy sometimes. Yeah, sometimes, there is really, really, really strong artistic skills when you see that. Not that ArtStation doesn't have that, but it's like, you know, anime oriented. So you see like figurine like work and cell shaded work, whether it's like by like a game shader or probably more likely than not by there's some plugin for 3ds Max and Maya. I think it's called Pencil. Or Pencil Plus, and those plugins are insane. You know, it actually changes the shader to behave in very, very particular ways. And one of the struggles that I have with cell shading in, you know, games is that you typically will do this in like an emissive channel, and the problem, of course, with that is that then there is no like self-shadowing as a result of you know, when like the character walks in the shadow, they won't then receive the shadow from the object that they're, you know, standing in. Like, so, you know, if they stood in the shadow of a tree, they won't receive that tree's shadow, and that's very frustrating. It's not really something I know like how to fix in, say, Unreal without I imagine going into C++ and actually changing the way that that works. And I suppose when we look at games like Cyber Dimension Neptunia, that game has cell shading in it, you know, pretty clearly, and it also has self-shadowing. Now, I wonder, is it because they're just throwing on the character materials on as emissive and then, or like diffuse, and then giving it like a roughness value of like 1 so that the light spreads throughout, and then you're basically just tricking the engine? Or have they done something a bit more clever than that and worked out how to well, of course they've got programmers, I'm sure they would be able to work that much out, but, you know, how to actually get shadowing from other objects to project onto the characters. It can be very interesting how they do it. I'd also like to know if Guilty Gear does actually have self-shadowing in that way, but it probably doesn't. Mostly for consistency and the fact that it's a fighting game, and the fact that, you know, you'd never really get into a building shadow in that game. So one of those things that works out. Okay, mouth. Same thing here with this, by the way, just going over and adding mid, outer, and then like middle, out, I guess mid, outer, or just in between. Not sure exactly what I'd call that. This last one, there we go. Outer. Okay. I just want that inside the lip, and then this goes on the very corner. That's what I learned from that Pluralsight tutorial. So I think they've still got about a month. Sorry, not about a month. About a week left. Probably about just under a week left for that. So if you haven't, you know, tried the trial, I'd highly suggest it. I think it's come. Ah, yeah. Oh yeah, this one should be called Upper, and just checking my feed basically just to make sure it's all working. Okay. Duplicate that, throw that onto the under, well, the lower lip. Exact same thing. there, put that there. Probably could afford to be a little bit further middle. I mean, we're not exactly going to be doing full-on lip sync projects, but it'd be worth being able to control, you know, the mouth and such. Okay. Lower outer mid, lower mid. Oh, BR1. Yeah. And of course, we're going to mirror all of this over later, but just want to try and make sure that they're all set up before that. I think we're going to have to do a few test binds before we can, you know, start actually weight painting proper. So yeah, it's a long process. That's why it's an open chat stream. So that. Okay. Alrighty, so that's most of the face stuff done. So just hide this head base. Although it clearly hides the rest of the joints underneath it, so that's not quite ideal. So what I should do really is hide. I'm gonna check that they're actually parented the correct way. They're not. Some of these are not parented right. So this upper eyelid stuff there needs to be parented to the upper eyelid. This rotates. That goes with it. Yep, there we go. Same's true of the lower stuff. How many objects there? Ah, yeah, this is a cheek area. I'm not sure exactly what I'll call these. But we'll just have to see. You know, I guess for now. I don't know how many exactly we're gonna have, but we'll reference another like face rigging tutorial when it comes down to it. Right. That all cleaned up now. I think it is. These four which go underneath over here, and when that rotates upwards it brings that with it. However, it's going to be worth orienting this especially carefully, because as you can see right now it's not quite the correct way, and it's more like it should be like this. Got to be slightly careful of that. Okay. I don't think we need to bother with ear wiggle. I think we'll be alright. No need for that. Okay. I think like very few people in the world can wiggle their ears, so if you're one such person, consider yourself very lucky. And we're going to do the hair in stages, because there's going to be a lot of bones. And you know, some of this we can try and group together, but most of it we probably won't be able to. And it's going to have to be formed, you know, like with at least two bone chains in some cases here. Right? So I mean, like, you could do this one as one and could probably work. Yeah, probably could, but then this one, I'm not 100% sure as to whether or not that could work with just the one. Maybe. And then this one is definitely at least 2, so 1, 2 at minimum. Right then. Well, and again, I guess it just depends on the fidelity and what you're trying to go for. So there is that. Alright, so first thing, I just want to hide all of these just to make it a little cleaner so that I can actually work with it. And the hair bones obviously cannot be mirrored, except in cases where they are, you know, the same on the opposite side. So duplicate this one, unhide it. Figures. Oh yeah, it was. Yes, I did unhide it. There you go. Right. And we could start off at the exact like root of the hair. We could do that. We're going to start with hair fringe 1. It could do, or we could start it roughly where the hair like would, you know, realistically actually be able to start moving from, because we wouldn't necessarily be moving these bones, so there's no point rigging that, I guess. So yeah, okay, let's go and start it off around this kind of point, just to save ourselves a bone, right? Because we're gonna have a lot of bones. So hair fringe 1, and then I guess we could just go numbering from there. So 1 1. It might be worth having the central bone around here though, or just something that the rest of the hair can actually apply onto. So basically like this. Like that. And then throw that over there. It's not like it's going to affect anything that much, but maybe like, you know, that could be like hair scaling or something. So hair root. Go. And then this will get thrown into there. Alright, cool. Yeah, Saturdays are the best days, I find. It's particularly, you know, liberating to be able to get up when you want. I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess everyone's situation depends. But in mine, because I'm a key worker, it means that you have to actually more carefully consider things like when to get up. But that doesn't mean I don't get tired anyway. Oops. And as always, the last bone in a chain is, you know, going to seem a little short compared to the full, you know, tip. Again, I'm not entirely sure how much fidelity I need. Probably not. Probably a little more than that, given that it's the fringe. I'd probably afford maybe 2 more joints in there. And I'm not sure exactly the maximum bone count, so I'm just going to quickly check this one. Oops. seem to detail any kind of like limit. So we could just, I guess we can just take it as we will. And even then we're rendering in Marmoset really anyway, so it's good to know that the situation seems to have improved with that. Alright, so we're just going to take a couple of these and start from maybe here, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously we're going to position it a little better than that though. But given that like the bones are already on the chain, you know, might as well just take advantage of that. Alright. Try to unparent them. Alright, now I can attempt to basically name and parent it. What in this? That's 1. Did I do this the wrong way? Yes I did. That was dumb. Should have just selected it via the actual screen, yeah. Oh well. Way to get this to sort. Oh well. One, two. Able to reorder it since they're sorted already. Let's go within type, eh? See about that. There we go. It's a bit hard to refresh it, but it worked. Alright, cool. Then we'll just balance that out a little bit more. And then just quickly align them. ZZ. Hey. Good. Because the yeah, that's why it was, because that one was selected. Anyways, this just goes there, then gets rotated back to that position. Thankfully, it just needs to match the model, doesn't need to be too precise. perhaps it's worth doing another bone there as well, but maybe that's just a bit much. Alright then, so hair fringe 1, 1, all the way through till 7. But now that we've done that, hair modify, freeze transformations, oops. Hit apply, exit out of that. Okay. We just repeat this for the rest of them. Although in this case, like, these two might need to share. Also, we'll need to scale it up, perhaps, in some way. Something like that. Going. Let's curve it in. Probably good, actually. Hoping that it doesn't need to be too precise. That should be able to move approximately that whole part well. Interesting to see if it can move this bit individually as well. You know, if it can move it without messing it up too badly. Again, there's probably going to be some, you know, limitations though. Slot freeze transformations so that because we scaled them, if we didn't freeze the transformations, then they might get a bit messed up, particularly like when zeroing things out or something. Not something I want to risk, so oh wow, I get so sleepy in the afternoon. Not particularly great. Right, 2. All right, next bit. Okay, move it along. Next bit. Oh. Some quick modification back in, like facing the right way. Worth like moving that along. Well, yep. Hmm. Okay. Maybe what? I think one's going to be enough to cover that one. Again. Throw that along there. We just got to be kind of careful. Oops, need to select them all to scale them. Really carefully move it with that. Don't want to go too far by accident. Along as well. A lot of these are going to have to be shifted in. Just scale a little bit more because it's just not quite small enough to make it. Further, something like that. All right, there you go. Something like that. There you go. I think tomorrow I will take some time to just look up for some more like upbeat stuff to play back. It probably contributes a lot to the whole sleepiness aspect. Because I thought that I got a relatively decent sleep today. So it might just be that it's just so somber that it's just a little bit sleep inducing. Just a little. So yeah, we'll look for something a little bit more upbeat. But still, you know, loyalty free and all. Seems good there. Alright, so the cool thing is that at least with the hair, you know, the fringe, making the bones, you know, is just a simple process once the initial, well, the first strand is made, that it's just copying and pasting it. Really, yeah. Copying and pasting. It'll be when we get to the back of the hair that it may, like, we'll be able to copy and paste it, but we still have to move it around and adjust for things. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think it's going to need to scale up. About that much. a little further back. Up a bit there. A lot further down. A little bit. There you go. It's probably good enough there. All right. Okay. I don't know if it's worth angling that a little more accurately towards where the hair's actually going, though. It might be. Not sure if we're going to use like curves with it, though. It probably will. That might affect some things, but given the angle of the hair, like, and it's not going to rotate very much, it's probably okay to just have, you know, an IK handler here, an IK handler here, curve, and just, you know, swing it around a bit. That seems to be what makes sense to me. Right. This bit, this is number 5. Alright then. Okay, next one. Probably get away with one with this one as well. I think we could. A little bit, scale it down a little bit, and it's just very much repeating the same process over and over. But I suppose that's all it's really asking you to do, so that at least feel, you know, kind of easy. Oop. Oops. Okay. Seems okay. Alright then. Get a drink actually. I haven't prepared a drink properly this time. Won't take very long. Make this next one and then I'll get a drink and again, it's not like it's going to take very long to do that. It's just I'll do it for now. Just it's been moved up a little too far. Not that that mattered. Shift that along like that. Okay, so then we've got only 2 more to go from that. Just a little further. Alright, I'm just gonna quickly get some cola. Shouldn't be very long. It's talking like maybe like. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Cola ready now. Oh, that feels a lot better. Getting like sort of dry there. Anyways, but that's something I was going to say about that. Yes, I put it as far away from the keyboard as possible. I'm not having that happen again. I was not expecting. Like, I've never quite done something as like spill a drink on a keyboard in my life until, you know, a good few days ago. Not expecting that. Okay. Oops. Don't want to keyframe that. There we go. IT10. And it's kind of hopeless, but I bought Project Winter as well because it was on sale. It's just such an interesting game, but I wish that there were more sort of, you know, friendly players to be able to play that with. The problem that I have as well is that I don't really have that many people who play the same kind of game. So, yeah, it's always difficult when, you know, when you have friends and they all play a very different kind of game to the game that you're playing. So, or you know, in worst cases where I have to say uni, everyone gets their own sort of schedules, you know, because they're all doing their own thing, and it's very difficult for everyone to sort of meet up and, you know, do things like even be with each other or even play games together. I mean, our current situation, not really possible to do that either. It's unfortunate. Ah well. Alright, so the next one. Ross. Too close. Not that that matters, it's a separate object. I don't think it necessarily has to be like perfectly center for all of it, but it should at least be within the object. Further that way. Right. checking it from every angle just to make sure that it's definitely inside. That way, shouldn't have any issues when it goes to animate. These definitely need to come back this way. A little bit. Right. Okay, and we're almost there on the frills. I don't think there's much point animating these little tiny bits there. I think that's like a bit overkill. Since obviously the hair on this rig cannot necessarily be reused, and would have to be either, you know, resorted again from scratch or whichever. You know, I'm not too fussed on making 100% perfect you know, things for it. It just needs to match the model. Next bit, although I need to rename this bit as well. Okay. Oh, it's got a similar name somewhere. Ah, there we go. That would be why. Some level of diligence is required, you know. That's why I think of rigging as the no def run or no mistake run of video game art. Well, not even just video game art, just general sort of 3D, you know, art. And I suppose it's a bit of a debate as to whether you can call it art and more sort of tech. Right, this one. Okay, so the last one on the fringe. Too bad. Fine, this goes by very fast, doesn't it? We're already about just over an hour, and we were only doing the face and the fringe. Yeah, so this does take some time just to put some bones down. I've said this before. Right, with a little constant tweaking. Fine. Project Winter is an incredibly cheap game, actually. That was very surprising. Like, to get it on. I mean, it's a Steam sale, but it was also like £6 or something. You know, assuming you're not getting the Black Hole DLC thing, which I did get. I haven't, and of course I haven't been able to play it yet, but I'm holding hope, right? Maybe that I'll be able to do something where people will be able to play. I don't know. It's just such an interesting game, particularly, you know, when you watch like HoloLivers play it, or any kind of like streaming group play it. It's just so fun to watch. It's a little sad if it just becomes that game that you watch people play instead of being able to actually play. Alright, so that's our fringe done. Just gotta rename the bit. Right, I'm just going to check it once more just to check that I haven't left in some weird number or anything like that. Looks all fine. Alright, save that. And... oh, wait, I should do this first. So what I'm going to do is just freeze their transformations before I continue. So here, if I freeze transformations, and you see how well, something happened there. Yep. I freeze transformations, so they all like kind of jitter a little there. You might have seen. Just want to line that one up a little bit. Again, it's not like they're going to like swing around wildly, but you know, if you're going to do something like this, maybe, or even like this, should at least properly set up, I think. Alright. I'm just going to quickly freeze their transformations again. There we go. Now that I've just done that. I freeze transformations. Oh. Yeah, I did notice that. That was a little weird. So that did change the way that that had been. If I did that individually and then do it again. Ah, right, okay. That was a little weird, but I think I've got it. Coincidentally, did this get rotated? Whoops. That was a little dumb. There we go, modify, freeze that. There you go. Anything else that I should worry about? Well, I've just moved that, and then if I modify freeze transformations on that, freeze these. That seems fine. Alright. Oh no, I intend for that one to be controlled by this one. Yes. Although it's a little close to the center there. Perhaps it should be, like it was too close to this one. Perhaps it should be moved over just a little bit. Probably good. That's alright. Okay, let's just do the freeze transformation one more time and see. Some part here didn't like it very much. This. Apparently that worked. Wasn't the bit I was after anyway. Right, so when I froze these transformations, it moved. So I'm just going to go slightly below and then freeze those. And maybe freeze this one after. Yeah, there you go. Alright. So it does seem like hierarchically it had manipulated it a little bit. Oh well. Let's try freezing that again. There we go, it's perfect. Alright, brilliant. But yeah, it's long, it's slow. Why I want to try and open this conversation to more fun things. So, what else? Sometimes it's hard to think of topics on the spot. I have a whole bunch of things I could talk about, but the problem is that I don't know what exactly to discuss. And in a sort of, how would I call it? Just sort of open setting. What do you think? I'm a little more awake now. Probably the cola helped. just want to play with that curve a little bit more because it just looks a little off to me. I just want it to be a little bit more smooth looking. There we go. That's probably fine. Try not to faff with it too much. And just check that it is definitely, like, at least within. Like that. Alright. Alright, and then do our freeze transforms again. You're fun. Then actually did transforms. Okay, cool. There we go. Alright. That's probably enough for the fringe. I just need to check absolutely that each bone chain had definitely had their transformations frozen. Although this one seems to have moved slightly. No. Freeze that. No. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, so as I'm moving up, trying to freeze them, it changed something there. As I do it individually, whoops. As I do it individually, it seems okay. But if I did it whilst selecting another one, it changed it. So now if I go back up, now that I've done it individually, what will happen? Nothing. Good. Alright, so maybe that's the way. Alright, cool. I'm just pressing G to redo my last action. So in this case, well, I am just freezing them as I go through, and as a lot of them. Yep, good. And I have to be very careful that everything is set up before I go over and do some mass freeze transformation on everything, and then find all my bones are out of whack. Because the last, and especially like if it's done it in such a way that you don't see it, that is the last thing you want. The absolute last thing you want is for some small change that breaks everything to have gone past your radar, and by the time that you are ready to do something else or move on to the next step, and then you notice that little error, it is horrible. Because it's, you know, much like rigging, basically, as I've said, is the no death run of you know, game art. So then therefore what happens when you discover that mistake is that you have a whole bunch of work to do all over again, you know, which is incredibly fun to discover. Oh, there we go. All right, so there's our fringe done, and then I'm going to select everything in that fringe and hit G for freeze transforms, and nothing moved. Good. All right, next bit. And now that I know that that bit is done, I'm just going to hide it. Here. Hide that, and of course hide the rest of the actual fringe mesh as well. It's all too easy to get confused. Okay. Next bit. We've just done the fringe, we'll do the braid then next. That just seems the easiest thing. And as it goes all the way over there, but we probably don't need to move anywhere around here. Could probably just start from there and work our way downwards. So that's fine. I like braids. They are complex and difficult to model, but with the you know, the ways that you can go about it, it can actually be quite easy. The only problem with a braid is retopoing it can be really annoying, you know, and that I suppose depends entirely on the way that you've done it. If your braid, like your ZBrush like braid mesh, has been made in such a way that it allows it to be used like a low subdiv as a low poly, then that can make things quite easy. If it hasn't, which has happened here, then it becomes a real fun game of trying to retopologize the thing. And I know that maybe this is a little overboard, you know, I've got like the full-on shapes of things, you know, because I think that would just make it look better. You probably could get away with like a tube kind of thing, depending on how far away the character is and everything like that. But we've gone and done it a little bit more sort of proper. Anyway, I just need a free bone. I'll decontrol. Shift H. Did deselect it? Did. There we go. Move this out of there. Put it onto hair root. There we go. Right, so hair braid 1. There we go. Nice and easy. And we're just going to start it off around here, I guess. It's not going to really move anywhere above there, I think. Could probably even go a little further. This bit is very easy. Really is just a case of, you know, drawing on more bones on top. But I hate using the joint like tool to do that, because then it makes the new joint, but it'll also have completely new settings, and it's just a little bit annoying. So I just like to basically duplicate it so that they've all got the same kind of settings that they have, and then just join them up with the parenting tool and such. Or, you know, the outliner. Prefer the outliner. I couldn't live without the outliner. It's one of the biggest draws of Maya, I'm afraid. Alright. Is that enough bones to do this braid? Just thinking. Probably is. I think that's good enough. I think. Although it's a little low. Eh. Never sure. Never sure whether that's enough. Maybe it's worth like increasing it a little bit as we go further down. 1, 2, 3. And then as we go further down from here, and just spread this along a little bit. Should be further down. Because it needs to, because this bone might very well rotate more or less or something. Comparison to this, so it might have needed the extra sort of bone there to kind of keep it from bugging out. You know, sort of like this. Okay, so we were talking roughly looking around here. every two, perhaps every two segments. Roughly speaking, there. It's never going to be like perfectly exact. Well, maybe actually we need more. So that there, then duplicate that and put that there. A bit more central though. No, it's only supposed to be rough. It's not totally meant to be precise like that. Okay, so that one, that one, that one, that one there. Oops. And that there. Maybe it's too much, I'm not 100% sure. There, top there. And this one goes over there. There. That should be good enough. Alright, cool. So the only issue with this is the names, so, and the order. That's definitely number 1, 2, not that one, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. There. 7. All right. Nine, right? Oh, no, wait. One's 9, this one should be 10. Okay, and then this one is the center of this bow thing, so that would be 11. And then I guess we can just start joining it back from here. 2, 3, 4. Oh. 9, 8, 7. Oh, hang on. Ah, there we go. Okay. Right. Okay. And then maybe we'll have 1, 2 bones here, or maybe just the 1. I'm not sure exactly how much resolution I would need there. Probably not a lot. I don't even think... Yeah, I don't think much of it is super necessary, so... So hair braid, And then we're going to specify that it's the bow and that it's like, you know, flap. I don't know what I would call it. I guess the ribbon. Probably makes more sense, right? Bow, braid, bow, ribbon, 1R. Okay. There. I guess just for completeness, we'll put the other one in there as well. I don't think that can be mirrored in the sense of, like, you know, from here to here. It'll only be mirrored from there to there. So there is still an aspect of things that we do have to do twice. Not separate like that. Right, so braid 11. Hair braid bow ribbon 1, 2. The only problem with this is that this still needs to indicate that direction that it goes under. Braid bow ribbon like this. No, because then it might pick up that in, yeah, bad. Right. Right 1, right 2. And then same occurs over here for the other side. There. Middle. Left. But its actual position on this model is the right. Oops. I mean that. Right. Left 2. Oops. 1. Alright, and then just parent that back up. We go. I probably didn't need to come out that far. Okay, and then the end. So over there. Okay. And I think we'll call this one, since it kind of technically is a different aspect. That hair braids look like all the way up to 11 there, and then this one can be called hair braid end, I guess. Something like that. Hair braid end 1, 2, and then probably only needs like maybe 2 more. Two. Four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move that a lot more centrally. Yeah. 4. I'll catch on the end. That's the braid basically done. So just the only thing. Freezing. See everything. Freeze them, okay. That's all done. Cool. Done. Hello? Other object here missing. This is one that's not been paired up properly. Right, okay. Let me freeze that too. Missed one, yeah. Right. 6, 7, 8. Freeze. Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, 20 minutes left. We're nearly at the end of the hair though. Nearly. Okay. Hide the braid. Save. Next step. So we've got the bangs to do. There's 2, and they're pretty simple as well. And what we can do is just duplicate the braid. I think I'd like might not even really need to move that much, to be honest. Might not even be necessary to animate these 2 parts, except maybe like down there a little, and then obviously just there. Okay. So I'm just going to unhide, say, the braid. Maybe not so, like a... Okay. Duplicate this. Throw that over here. Right, so that's pretty wide. A wide amount of room. And just start angling it so that... just show the wireframe unshaded. That way I'll be able to see what segments I do actually have. And it's looking like it's going to be 1 per segment, roughly. Something like that. Still quite a lot of bones just for that. Let's delete that bit, and some of this stuff on the end definitely isn't necessary, but just do about that much. I'll probably do it. Okay. And I think that one's unnecessary. Move this down over there. Roughly like that. Then move this along there. Just try and make it a little bit more even. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hmm. That needs to be pulled down a little bit. Same goes for this one. After that, up a little. I'm a little cautious of the triangles there. Okay. Go, and the only thing that needs to happen from there is just give them the correct name. So this is something like basically bang 1 1. So R. Because there's 2 of them, so oops, RT. Keep going. Yep. Okay. Out further. Nine and 11. Alright, cool. That was pretty simple. I might not even need to animate the next one. Well, I think we'll put the bone in there anyway, just for completeness sake. Might not even need it, but hey, it's better to have it there than decide later that we wanted it there. Okay. Breeze. And go wildly out of whack. Then, oh, you just duplicate that. Move it forwards. Try and match the other object, like the other hair art that we were working on. We don't even need as much as the other one actually. Again, I just want to try and line that up with, there's, you know, only so many polys going around. Okay, line that up with edges a little more. That should probably do it. Then this lot can be deleted. Move this over. The problem here is this doesn't quite line up with a line cleanly. So move it. Yeah, you know what, it's probably fine. Worrying a little too much about that. Okay. And then comes the renaming. Not as many to do though. I can't see. I probably should have put an underscore in front of the number as well. Alright, next bit. And underscore missing there. Bit annoying. Missing a number there. Oh. Six, 7. That one should be 7. This one's 8. Yeah. 7. And 10. Missing one. Okay. Alright then, and then next thing to do from here, just freeze transforms, all good, okay. Next one, freeze transforms, fail. Right. So we're just gonna go bump, 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 bump. You see how that one moved? Yeah. Go again? Yeah, all good. And freeze that as well. Yep. Alright, all good there. So, hair bangs are clear. Hide them. Alright, the next bit. And it comes in 2 parts, and both of those come in multiple parts. So we've done all that way. Now we're at the actual kind of difficult, well, not really difficult, but just time consuming part, and that's these 2 hair segment collections here. So we've got, they're basically the same, but one segment is basically the inner, which has a slightly different construction to the other set, which is the outer. Outer being this. Okay. Oops, missed one. Yep, there we go. Okay, so Only got 7 minutes, but hopefully we can get something out of it. And since we've already constructed a pretty long part, we should be able to get somewhere quickly with it. Hopefully that'll be what finishes off today. Okay. Let's get braid 1 perhaps. We will probably need to go at least to this level. And it's going to involve a lot of renaming, so about here. Maybe a little further, about there. Seems to make sense to me. Second thing I want to do is clear this part where they branch off, because we don't need that anymore. Well, not for that, I mean. Check that I've definitely got. And that I've definitely got one that's around. The braid. Braid is there right now. Okay, cool. This is the one that we're messing with. Okay, good. That bit. Did it delete the whole thing? No. Or did it? No. A little surprising. Alright then, and then take this lot and just suddenly, like, you know, reposition it roughly, not like that, but roughly to the end, one of these. You can see that's a lot of, you know, geometry as well, so super careful. We're going to move them very carefully. And one thing that might help with this is we just isolate. Now, I'm not sure exactly how much we're going to use with it, or if some of these are probably going to be doing like double duty, which may very well be the case. Okay, so we've positioned the bottom one, and then we're just going to use D. Now we've only got 3 minutes left. We're not going to cover all of this, but we can do at least one of these, and it will give us some idea as to what to do for next time. So all I'm doing is just moving them around, holding D so that I don't affect the rest of the chain. Because it's a bit easier if I've already moved the bottom part to do that. But at the same time, I feel like in this case it is much easier to work it from the bottom rather than from the top. I don't know why right now, but proving useful, so. Okay. Yep, it's really long work, but we're almost there for just constructing the rig alone, as in the actual skeleton, and then we move on to, I guess, the actual, you know, limitation, constraints, things like that, which also involves, you know, much testing, just making sure that it all works. And yeah, it can be an arduous and tedious process, not gonna lie, but still kind of important. It's just that in terms of, how do I call it, right? It's just a lot of work, really. But with enough patience and hopefully enough time, it will you know, be worth it. So. Alrighty then, almost there. Okay, that gets us this. Smooth it out before I do anything else with it. Like, you know, save. Alright, so, oh, let's just smooth this a little bit more. And that's it. That's that aspect covered. And then I think that what we'll do is that we'll branch off, perhaps from here to go here, and maybe take the next segment. Maybe it's unnecessary and this could drive this whole mesh instead, but it does seem a little bit strange if I were to do that there. For those little parts on the rest of the hair, I wouldn't worry so much, but for this, it seems so big to ignore. So, that's it for today. We've covered a lot now, but we've still got this skirt to do, and of course the rest of the back of the hair. But you know, we're getting a lot closer to finishing off the skeleton and then making all of the corrections and joint orients and stuff. It's very, very you know, arduous and kind of tedious work, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to liven it up with, you know, some conversation. So, you know, feel free to you know, chat or anything. Yeah, we might be able to get some insight. So, anyways, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye bye.